Right, so what a day I've had. I just got back from town a little while ago, and I went in town to go and sell something to a pawn shop, CeX, Swindon, and let's put it this way: I ended up destroying the place, nearly getting arrested. I'm waiting for them to come and fucking find me. Um, Soiling my new identity. Uh, uh, I put the fear, I put the fear of God into some poor young lad. He fucking, uh, he's quivering. His little lip was a little quivering. So I knew he was scared. But yeah, what happened was I got my tablet, and I had to reset everything on it. Right, so I reset it. Right, and then he said, "Oh, I want to test it." You're supposed to test it before I reset it, yeah? And then he came over and he said, I don't think your ID is you because I'm all fat and ugly in this picture. Um, I said, well, I don't think you're you, but what do you want me to do about it? That's my ID. It's an official fucking driving license. And I've got all other documentation to say everything else. So, you know, I knew this bloke was going to be a problem, this young lad. I knew he was going to have a fucking attitude, right? It was Sunday. The cunt didn't want to work. So I knew he was going to have an attitude with me. I just fucking knew it. Being Sunday, I just knew it. And I walked the thing, the bloke's there with his red hat on. And I thought, right, this bloke's going to be right cunt, I can tell. And it wasn't him that was the cunt in the end. It was his manager. So I went away for an hour. Uh, Took a small smoke off somebody because I knew that I was getting the money, and I thought, fuck it, it's guaranteed. So uh, I chilled out a bit, and then an hour later I go back into town. I see the manager, and he says the region isn't right on the tablet, and I was like, what do you mean? He said, it doesn't say United Kingdom. I went, yeah, it's English, United Kingdom. He went, yeah, but the region. I was like, right. And it only had like Egypt, Indonesia, things like that. And I'm like, well, listen, it worked when I got it because I would have noticed that it didn't have the region. I wouldn't have just pressed Egypt expecting it. I would have worried that it come up in bloody Egyptian or something. So I know that it had the option to press United Kingdom in the settings because it was a brand new boxed one, right? It was a brand new boxed one. There wasn't a foreign label on it or something. It didn't come from as far as I know. I mean, there are foreign labels on everything now, but that doesn't mean to say that it came through some dodgy source or whatever. But this guy took it upon himself to judge me. Uh, and Needless to say, he won't be working there much longer because I'm gonna make sure that he doesn't work there much longer. Um, you know, I didn't go out today. The more important thing was this woman next to me with her son and that. She's a little bit like council house type person, not very fucking well put together and that. And she had hardly any teeth and stuff, but she was all right. And basically, she's telling me that fucking uh her mate had a problem where they'd done the same thing to her 2 minutes before, and now she's got a problem trying to get her stuff back and that. So CEX, Swindon, boycott them. Don't give them your stuff. It's a front anyway, right? They're all fronts. What's the other one? Regenerate. Yeah, that's the other slag that got me fucking arrested. And a year before, it was cash converters. Those wankers, right? They've also banned me. So I can't sell anything in town anymore. I have to find somebody to do it all for me with the ID and everything. Um, because Yeah, they decided that me shouting or arguing with somebody over them saying they don't buy iPhones, and I said this is an iPhone 14. I think it's 13, 12. Anyway, it was a few years ago, and it was top of the range at the time. He said, "Yeah, we're not buying them anymore." I said, "What do you mean you're not buying them anymore? They're fucking brand new." And then he goes, "Oh well, I'll tell you what, I'll give you." And then he gave me a real dog shit price, right? This little blonde prick, you know, he thinks he's something special, right? All you little fuckers that work in town, don't cross us, right? We live in town. You just work there. Serve us, smile, and be on your fucking way, right? Because we don't need you uh, judging us, right? Because we're not working or we're in town buying something cheap because we have to buy it from your shitty store that sells 10-year-old technology to students, right? And then employs fucking some of the worst looking, ugly, fucking goth women in the industry for pawn shops. For some reason, it attracts gothic freaks, gothic freaks that don't look right in any society, right? And I'm not judging them. I'm just doing what they do to me when I walk in with my gold ring on or my watch or whatever. You know, they criticize me because I live a certain style of life. Um, so yeah, CEX Swindon. Um, the little maggot wouldn't tell me his name. He wouldn't tell me his name. In fact, I've got his employment number. That's all I need for his boss. You know. But unfortunately, it'll be the guy that served me originally. It'll be his number. It won't be the person. Oh shit! It won't be the person that um, was a prick to me. Right? Thinking that I told him I'm gonna get him back. I'm gonna make sure I see him walking through town after work one day, and I'm gonna chase the cunt. I'm gonna fucking make him tell me what he did to that tablet. Right? Because whatever he did, it fucking ruined it. The police have got it now. I can't get it. I've lost out on the money. I didn't get my smoke. I can't go and buy fucking tobacco. I wanted to have a beer. Can't do that. Run out of Rizzler. Luckily, I found a couple of Rizzlers. Right, but I've hardly got anything to smoke. Right, and this guy's working on Sunday. Right, he's in the generation of the only generation that can get work in town centre. Because if you walk through town, there's hardly any adults working in the shops. They're all young managers. They're all young staff. During COVID, a lot of the employers in Swindon took the opportunity to get rid of the older generation through redundancy. And unfortunately, they employed young dimwits, right? They haven't got fucking brains that they're born with, because if they had, they'd be out stealing for a living, right? Because I'm telling you, you know, it's every pawn shop in town, right? You're all a bunch of wankers, right? You got a job. You know the people that are coming in are desperate. Some people aren't just after drug money, right? Some people are genuinely desperate to buy nappies, to buy whatever they need for their kids, because the welfare are checking up on them to make sure they're not buying drugs and to make sure that their kids are being looked after, fed, watered, bathed, cleaned, educated, right? I don't have kids. Some guy tried having a go at me because the children were scared. There were no children in the shop. He said they'd left them, so why are you having a go at me then? Well, the children aren't here. Fuck off, stupid cunt. I'm not getting involved in your business. He touched me. I nearly fucking whack. I nearly swung at the cunt, right? But I was trying to be a little bit fucking calm and cool and collected before all that shit kicked off. And then that sort of stupid cunt that come up to me, right? He escalated the situation. He escalated it, by touching me. Right? I nearly elbowed him. I nearly knocked him to the floor just to prove a point. But I couldn't because I wasn't trying to get arrested. I wasn't trying to cause trouble. Right? That's what they did. Right? They made the situation worse and they ripped me off. CEX Swindon. They ripped me off by. You couldn't make this shit up. When I set up the laptop, if it had said not the region, had not said United Kingdom, I would have known. I would have seen that. But because everything, when I opened it, I was excited. I'd ordered a refurbished one, but I got a brand new one. It was all sealed, boxed. It hadn't been opened, right? So I was all excited that it was a good thing. Now the police have got it. I can't get it back. They think it's stolen, whatever. And I've got to hand myself in, right? But I tried to change my ways. Right? If listen to me. If you're that guy, the guy today, or any guy like him today, right? If you're the guy that touched me, if you're the guy that approached me, if you're the guy that got involved in my shit, right? Watch my fucking space. Because if I see you again, I may just go for you one morning. I may go for you. Not the staff member. I mean the random stranger, the good Samaritan that thought he was doing good, right? You nearly got hurt. You nearly got fucking hurt. Why? Because I wasn't in the mood to deal with fucking stupid cunts like you, right? But you nearly got fucking swung at, boy, right? And you know who you are, right? Sunday, CEX. You're black. It makes no difference, but you know who you are, right? You know who you are, right? And if I see you again, and I told you, I gave you a fair warning. If you touch me again, I'll fucking swing it. He said, I didn't touch you. I said, you fucking did. I felt it. And you're lucky I didn't fucking swing at you when you touched me. But I wasn't sure who you were before I turned around. Right? But I'm quicker than you, old man. Right? Don't step into my business. You've got no fucking clue who I am. So, of course, I'm now just sitting now waiting for the police. I'm trying to have a good meal, have a shower. Yeah, they're going to come along. They're going to try and fucking bullshit me out. I'm just going to say, look, if you're going to arrest me, pick up that suitcase because I'm going to hospital. Right? Because that's what they'll do with me. They'll take me to hospital and assess me and say, you're relapsing. Right? They don't realise that, like, once again, I've gone into town and someone's started a fucking problem and I've ended up having an argument with them. Right? And it was a pawn shop. And why is that? Because I don't go in any other shops in town. There's nothing there for me, right? I don't really even go in the pubs, right? So the one shops that I can go in, yeah, you're a bunch of cunts, right? You're a bunch of cunts, and your day it's coming. It's coming. The day I will rule the day, but those shops shut down, right? Because I'm going to open one, right? And I'm going to take all their fucking business. And when they come in looking for money, because they can't afford to buy stuff for their family, right? And I've got power over them, I'm just going to make them grovel for it. Right? I said, no. You're not groveling enough for it, mate. I remember your face when you worked in the shop, doing the job that I'm doing now, right? The tables have turned somewhat. So now you've got the problem of how I'm going to treat you. Am I as fair and just as how you were to me? Or am I more fair and just? Now that's the question. And it reminds me of something from the other day where a friend of mine said to me that I owed him money if I ended up back in hospital. Which is fine. I accept that. I made the bet somewhat crazily out of my mind, but I did. The problem is, when I'd made the bet, uh, I was under the influence in hospital. So I'd forgotten about this. And when I spoke to him the other day, and he said, "Oh, no, we made that bet. And if you don't stick to it, I'm going to make sure I get the money whilst you're in hospital." I hung up on the cunt. I hung up on the cunt because I said to him, I said, "Oh, well, see, now I probably would have paid my bet, my debt, right? I would have paid my debt regardless of whether I was in hospital, got out of hospital. If I said I'd give him 150 quid for a bet to stay out of hospital and it didn't happen, I'm going to stick to that bet. It'll take everything I got to pay it off, but I'll give him that money, right? Now, when the tables are turned somewhat, I don't believe that he's got the same moral character as I have, right? And he proved that with the way that he communicates with people. He'll say something like, "Don't ever call me back. Don't ever phone me. No, I've had enough of you. Yeah, don't ever call me." And he'll throw away years of friendship because he's a stubborn wanker, right? But he's got nobody. He's got nobody. His own kids don't even fucking have anything to do with him. So you'd think somebody with nobody to fall back on, nobody to help other than their own mother or sister, right? Because their dad wants nothing to do with them. You'd think that they would have the decency to treat people a little bit better. See, now I've always been okay with people that are okay with me, but as a rule, I treat people with respect until they show me disrespect, and then they don't like it. They don't like me arguing back. They don't like me raising my voice. They don't like me fucking swinging at them, punching them in the face, whatever, right? They don't like that. I can't understand why, but they don't. So the point is, why? And I've said it many times. Why do you have to make life difficult? Right? All I wanted was some money for my item. But no, you had to pull a fast one, CEX. You had to do some kind of fucking sly business move, right? Which you seem to be doing to the poorest people that come into your shop. The ones that haven't got a lot of money. The ones that are desperate for money. And yes, they may have they may be addicts. They may have addictions. But that's not your fucking problem, right? That's not your problem. All you're there to do is keep the money going round whilst the police find out who's stealing, and pawning stolen goods. That's what a pawn shop was originally built for, to give people money and to inform on criminals doing criminal shit. That's why I know that Regenerate is a front in Swindon. It's run by weed dealers. I used to buy weed from them, so I know. The young black woman that runs it, I can't remember her name, Chantel or something like that. She I tried to apologise to her, and she just went, "No, you threatened to kill me." And I said, "Yeah, but I was a bit crazy." She went, "No, I don't care, you're banned." I was like, "Oh, right." So I never got my polisher back, which somebody did a sly deal with. CEX are very similar. They're ripping people off. That technology that's in the windows, right? And I promise you this: nobody's buying it. Nobody's buying stuff from CEX, Cash Converters, or Regenerate. So where are they getting their money from? The barbers up and down Commercial Road. They've got Lamborghinis parked outside. Nobody's in there getting their hair cut, and nobody pays £1 million for a haircut. So where are they getting their money from? Okay. What's the other thing they've got up and down Commercial Road now? Yeah, they got a lot of butchers. Right? Now this made me think. I was watching the Chinese woman or Indian woman, old lady, emptying out her car. The back of her car parked up on the curb. Outside the halal butchers or whatever it is on Commercial Road. I think it's Brazilian. I don't know. Anyway, the woman's taking out packets of frozen chicken legs and breasts. And I thought to myself, she's just got that supermarket and bought that, and now she's selling it in the butchers as fresh meat. I thought, well, okay, so how else would you transport meat? If you were a butcher, how would you get your meat to your butcher shop? In plastic, I guess. So that makes sense. But then I swear I saw like Asda or Tesco's written on it. So what they're doing is they're going to the shop, taking all the meats out, going to their shop, taking out the packaging, laying it on green felt or whatever they put on in butchers, that green stuff, right? Baize or something. So they're emptying the meats of the packets and then selling it to you and wrapping it in paper or whatever and giving it back, right? But she probably paid £5 for 4 legs, something like that, and I guarantee she's selling 2 legs for £5, which is good business sense. But where's the fresh meat? Where's the reason to go to the butchers? If they're just buying it from the supermarket and bringing it into town, then what's to stop me going to the supermarket and taking it home? Yeah, just I thought I had a police radio. Yeah, so if that's the case, then all these shops in Swindon, they're all ripping people off. They're all ripping people off, and the pubs again come up with some bullshit reason to ban me, right? Another fucking faggot that works behind the bar that thinks that he's got the almighty power of the omnipotent fucking God above, that he's got control over me. So he pushed me through the door. I've said this on camera before. He pushed me through the door, and he's arguing with me, and he's squaring up to me, and he's squaring up, and I just said, mate, you're about 30 seconds away from me punching you in the face. And his reaction was quite a sweet one, really. He stood up to attention because he realised he could get knocked over at any minute. And I think he wanted to be able to take the punch, but I wouldn't want to be on the end of it. I know what it does when I punch something. So, but as I was explaining to someone else, being punched doesn't hurt. It's the initial shock. When someone punches you, it's a shock. It's not as painful as what you would think. But yeah, I've got no desire to be punched in the face or punch anybody in the face, right? But sometimes you just got to tell people that you're about to do it. It's in your head. You literally got no control over what you're about to do. I am literally 30 seconds away from throwing a punch at you, mate, because you're winding me up. You're being all fucking rude and obstinate, right? And it's just wrong. It's just wrong that I can't have a normal life. I can't go out and not get into an argument with a snotty little shit. Last time I went into town, another time that I went into town recently, it was the barman, a different barman, and he complained because I called him barkeep. This is the woke generation that you parents are leaving behind, right? Parents are leaving woke children behind to rule the world, right? To run the world. And if you've ever seen Planet of the Apes, there's a point where they're in the Planet of the Apes and there's a beautiful barbarian woman type thing. And they're all dressed in bikinis And you realise that civilization has gone back, it's reverted back to like Garden of Eden, where they've abandoned living in society and they started living in caves or trees or building huts or whatever. Because, as you know in the film, it's set years later after World War III, I guess, and uh, the nuclear holocaust and all that. And that's what you're left with. So this dystopia fucking future is always depicted like a Garden of Eden, and I think to myself, you couldn't have that now. You couldn't have paradise because there'd be somebody like the little fucking maggots that I have to deal with in town, uh, who seem to think that they're 25 years old and they've got a manager's job. They're on the way up to the top. They don't realise that they're seconds away from losing their job. They could be made redundant. It's going to hit them hard when life gives them a good kick up the arse, because they're not expecting it. They don't realise life can be very hard. Um, they just, I don't know. Everyone says they expect things on a platter. Well, I grew up in that generation. We kind of felt that way, but we didn't feel that we had to control others. It's their job to tell me what I think, or I'm not allowed to say gay, or I'm not allowed to say a lesbian, not a lesbian, a transvestite is a puff, or whatever. But they are though, aren't they? Right? Because I don't agree with that. Right? I'm a God fearing man, right? I believe in man and woman, right? I don't believe you get the choice to be a man or a woman, or you may feel like a woman, but I don't believe that. That is mental health. Right? I've said it before, I say it again on camera. That's mental health. If we don't start locking up transvestites, trannies, whatever they call themselves now, he, she's, I don't know what they call them, but if we don't start doing that and locking them up for mental health, all of our kids. I saw. Now this is different. This is religion. This is different, but it's still fucked up. I saw a girl. She's probably, let's say, about 13, 12, 13, and she was walking along, and she was happy with herself. She looked really happy, but she was wearing a hijab thing, and it wasn't a black one. It was like a blue with a white. She looked really nice, I guess, but you know, just because all her friends are Muslim or whatever doesn't mean to say that at her age she should be wearing those clothes. She should be allowed to have the freedom to grow as a normal person, child, under the same religion that her parents do and all that growing up. If that's the same religion, then that's different. But if if I'm honest, it seems like to me that at a young age she thinks or been brainwashed or thinks that being a Muslim is better than being a Christian. Um, but from my point of view, we're not the ones at war. So I always think to myself, these we've seen it on the news, these girls that go across to Afghanistan and that, and they get um, brainwashed into thinking they're going to live like a princess and all this, and they end up living in caves, and then they come back trying to be English and Christian again, but they change their passports and things like that. So you've only got to look at that and realise how fanatical that side of being a Muslim is. The uh, I can't remember what they're called now. I can't remember what they're called, but you know the the groups that ISIS and all that. That's what I'm thinking of. ISIS and all that. But the women over here going over there and becoming wives, Muslim wives or whatever. I don't see a problem with that. If that's what they want to do. Coming back is a bit of an issue because they kind of given up their nationality. But this young girl, 13, 12, 13, she, I don't think she realises the damage that she's doing by dressing in those clothes to her to the outside world that looks in on her life, because people just think that she's been brainwashed. Yeah, people think she's been brainwashed. She somewhere along the lines thought that she had the knowledge to be a Muslim and to make that decision at a young age. You know, if you're changing religions, you should be 16, 18, because you're adolescent in your mind. You don't understand God. You don't understand the concept of God. And you've never seen it. You know, you haven't lived long enough to see good and bad in the world. Like today, I was trying to be good, getting on with one person, but the bad in the world he wanted to stop me from doing what I was doing. And I'll say this, you know, the banks have done it to me this week. I kind of look forward, if I go back to hospital, I kind of look forward to just being there for the time whilst I wait for my money to come through, because sitting at home doing nothing, I got no TV, now I've got no tablet, you know, I've got fuck all to do of an evening. In fact, any fucking women that I know are long gone. So I've got to get out there and find new people to spend time with. And I need to find somewhere else to live.